What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Sorry for the late response after free agency, but as you guys know, I am working full-time, so I do not have the opportunity to get to these videos right away, but there is going to be a bunch of videos coming out because there's a lot of information that we need to take in. There's a lot of new players, there's a lot of faces that are leaving the team, and there's a lot of question marks. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I am not 100% convinced that this Leafs team is any better after free agency, but it's just the beginning of the offseason. There's lots of work to do. There's more things that can be done. There's trades that can be made, and there's more rumors definitely coming up. But if you are new to this channel, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe. I know there's a lot of people that just come back to these videos and they don't even realize that they're not subscribed. I'd greatly appreciate that, and liking this video, it helps a ton. But let's waste no more time. So you guys are going to see on the screen right now, with about $3 million of cap space to spare, the Leafs have a goaltender in Peter Mrazek, which we'll get to. They have picked up Michael Bunting, who I think will make this team, obviously. David Kampf, again, could be saying his name incorrectly, but I do know his playing style, and I've watched a little bit on him. But you're going to see that there's not a lot of guys that they signed here, because a lot of them are going to be, PTOs or, guys that are going to fill out for the Marlies. Now, there's a guy that I'm going to briefly talk about that I don't have all of his numbers and everything put up here because he is a PTO. I'm not really sure what the Leafs are going to be doing, but a guy that they are obviously going to be bringing in to try to make this team is Josh Ho-Sang. Now, he just didn't work out with the Islanders, and he's going to be a bit of a project. He's going to be sort of like Galchenyuk, which is a guy that I wish the Leafs would have held on to. And of course, we lost Freddie and Hyman. Videos on all of those guys coming very soon, because I'm not even joking, guys. I have so many videos that I need to make. But Ho-Sang could be a project. He could be a guy that the Leafs bring in that could work. And I hope that he finds his scoring touch. I hope that he finds his way here, because that would just be another guy that could add to this team. And I think that he'll be a valuable piece going forward if he actually does get comfortable and play the way he's supposed to. But the way Kyle Dubas mentioned it was, this is kind of his last shot. If he doesn't do it, he's never going to do it in the NHL. I feel like they're going to give him an opportunity, and if he doesn't prove it, then he's not going to do much. So this is kind of how I value some of the players that the Leafs have signed. Could you put Kerfoot on the left there? Is Robertson even going to make this team? I have no idea. Are you going to trade Engvall and Mikheyev? Are you going to trade Kerfoot? Because I don't think you keep all three of these guys. So the Leafs could open up a little bit of cap space here. And this cap space actually isn't technically $3 million. There's a little bit of work here that needs to be done in terms of, guys that are going to be on the Marlies and guys that are going to be, healthy scratches and stuff like that. But they're probably going to be able to pick up a guy around the $3 million range. And again, more videos coming on that coming soon. Now, these are all the guys that they signed, okay? So we already knew Spezza, Simmons, and Dermott had happened. Joseph Wall as well. Michael Bunting we will get to. Peter Mrazek we will get to. Michael Amadio. Just more depth. I don't think that we're really going to get to this guy in this video. Curtis Gabriel, a lot of people know of him. He's more of a fighting style, depth, gritty guy. In my opinion, Kyle Dubas picked up Curtis Gabriel basically as if Simmons goes down, they're going to call him up and be like, okay, now punch somebody in the face. That's basically his job. So when Simmons got injured, they didn't really have anybody to replace that sort of style. Maybe Curtis Gabriel is just the insurance. David Kampf we'll get to in a second. Alex Biega. I'm not a big fan of Alex Biega, so I'm hoping he's just a Marlies pickup. Carl Dahlstrom we won't be getting to, but again, just more defensive depth, a younger guy. Brett Seney, who just recently signed, again, like I said, more depth, 25 years old. They're going to probably be trying a lot of these guys with the Marlies. And Pavel Gogolev, listen, I've watched this guy play many times and I still can't say his name properly. We will be getting to him because this is an interesting one at age 21 that I'd love to talk about. But I'd really appreciate if you guys comment down below, because we've all seen the signings. What do you think, or how do you think Kyle Dubas did, and is this team better? But wait till the end of the video. Maybe we'll be able to decide together. But these are all the moves that the Leafs made. Of course, there was a couple minor trades and stuff like that, but this is the bulk of it, all the stuff that really matters. So Michael Bunting signed $950K, 2-year contract. Now, apparently he was offered more money from other teams. He was kind of a breakout guy from the Arizona Coyotes. So $950,000 for a guy that the Leafs are going to definitely try with their bigger name players is something quite interesting. Now, you can see his AHL numbers. He's done quite well. He's able to put up points. And then in the NHL here in the 2020-2021 season, playing in 21 games, he had 13 points, including 10 goals. I think Bunting was a perfect pickup, especially at the price that they paid. When I was originally making these teams, I figured the Leafs were going to try to get him at like 1.1 or 1.2, but getting him under $1 million is definitely a plus. I think that he's going to be a great option for the Leafs, whether he ends up sticking in the top 6 and seeing if he can hang with the big guys, or they're going to throw him on the third or fourth line and just have him as depth. If the Leafs can get 10 to 15 goals out of him this season, which I think is very possible, if he had 10 and 21 and he's playing with really good players, much better players in Toronto versus Arizona, nobody really knows how good this guy could be. This is another guy where it's like, okay, you're taking not a huge risk because it's a cheap contract, but you're betting on the fact that he's only 25 and showed signs that he could be an improving player. So I'm very excited about that signing. The Leafs got another goaltender, of course. This is something that they needed to address. Peter Mrazek, obviously he's been a tandem goaltender in Carolina for a while now. $3.8 million was too much. I'm not a big fan of the contract. I think that the Leafs could have got other goaltenders at a cheaper price that I would have been just as happy, if not happier about. Save yourself a little bit of money, spend it on more forward depth. But Mrazek's good. His numbers are pretty good. And if you believe he's a $3.8 million goaltender, I'm just a dude talking to a camera making YouTube videos. So he got a 3-year deal, which surprised me a little bit. He's not old. He's only 29, so this is fine. This is not a terrible contract. But him and Campbell basically making under $6 million combined is pretty solid. I'm okay with that. Now we're going to go down here and look at his numbers. So this past season, he had terrible numbers in the playoffs, but previously he's been pretty good, except for this year with Philadelphia, but he only played in one game, so you can't really look at those numbers. But in a smaller sample size, he's done pretty good. And seeing he's played 40 games, and then 12, obviously, he puts up good numbers. The guy puts up good numbers, and that's what the Leafs needed. They need another goaltender to pair with Jack Campbell, so that way there's some insurance. Freddie Anderson was a guy that the Leafs couldn't trust. They obviously clearly didn't want to make Michael Hutchinson the backup, even though he actually did play pretty well. But they wanted a guy that can play 30 to 40 games. And especially if Campbell isn't on that same hot streak this season, you have a guy that can at least play as a starting goaltender, a 1A, 1B option. I was just not happy with the contract, to be honest with you. Now, David Kampf. Now, again, I'm probably saying his name wrong. It's probably Kampf. But $1.5 million for the next 2 seasons. A little bit of an overpayment, but let me just tell you something, and this is something that I heard from listening to Steve Dangle. It's something that I did just by going on Twitter to see the reactions to it from fans of Chicago, because that's where he came from, I believe. But like just looking at the reaction online, a lot of people are saying the Leafs have been begging and fans have been begging for a guy that can kill penalties exclusively, win faceoffs, and is a quicker player that can do a little bit of everything. And he's only 26. This is what he's going to bring you. So I'm actually on the side of like, okay, I wasn't sure if I'd like this, but now I'm okay with it, knowing that he's a specialist in certain areas that the Leafs are clearly lacking in. So I'm just looking at his numbers again, $1.5 million, 26 years old. His point totals are not the flashiest, but from what we've been hearing, he could score 10 to 12 goals a year. He had 1 in 56, but he took on a very defensive role. He wasn't playing as a guy that scores a bunch or anything like that. He was basically a defensive specialist, and I would imagine the Leafs give him a little bit of a leash to be offensive out there, but I think that he's a perfect guy. He fits into the age range that the Leafs need as a defensive style player. You can't get enough of guys like that. So I'm okay with this. It's just I was a little worried about the money, but if you really think about it, a Pierre Engvall and an Ilya Mikheyev, one or both, are probably going to be traded. So you're basically just replacing, a younger defensive style guy that can replace one of those two guys. And so I'm okay with it. So looking at his numbers, nothing flashy, but I'm good with it. Now, Pavel Gogolev. Now, I watched him a lot in junior. He played for the Guelph Storm. This guy scores the lights out. Like, he is an offensive machine. He just scores. His shot is insane. Every single time you go to a game, he's definitely going to be scoring a goal. He's only 21 years old. He went to the Marlies this season. He just signed a 3-year entry-level deal after playing very well with the Marlies. I was pumped if you guys were following me on Twitter, when he initially came to the Marlies, I said, this is a guy that's going to be a sleeper prospect in the system. Prospect. He's 21 years old. This guy could be a depth piece for the Leafs. If they could find a diamond in the rough and let this guy play on the third or fourth line for a few games to see what he's got, maybe not right away, because if he tears it up again in the AHL for the first 20, 30 games, the Toronto Maple Leafs have to seriously consider making a roster spot for this guy and seeing what he's got. If the Leafs have tried players in the past that don't have finished, guys that can't score, Pavel has that. He can score, he finishes. I've watched him do it countless times with my own eyes, right live, right in the arena. This guy is insane. And I wanted to show you guys his numbers. First of all, .925 for the next 3 years. Pretty good for the 21-year-old. This is the numbers that I'm talking about. This year right there, 63 games played, he had 96 points, including 45 goals and 51 assists. This is one of the sleeper signings that the Leafs have done in quite some time. I need to see this guy get a shot. 12 points in 13 games with the Marlies. Anywhere he goes, he puts up points. The Marlies were garbage this season, and he was doing that. That's what separates guys like Robertson, Gogolev, Liljegren. They're still giving you value and giving you good numbers while playing on a bad team. If he's putting up those type of numbers on a team that isn't good with the Marlies, and the AHL is not a crap league. We all know there's a lot of good talent down there. There's a lot of really good prospects all over the league down there. They need to give this guy a shot. Everywhere he's been, whether it was for the Peterborough Petes in the OHL, the Guelph Storm, the Marlies, he puts up points. Give this guy a shot, and he knows how to finish. I'm going to say it again. He knows how to finish. This guy is going to be fine. He's proved that he's clutched. He scored a lot of big goals for Guelph, including, game winners in big games for Guelph in the playoffs. I'm very excited about this guy. And again, there might be a bit of bias here, but I'm very excited to see what he can do. I don't think he's going to be in the NHL right away, but the Leafs are going to keep their eye on him. They're going to keep their eye on him. So with the mysterious ads, with Ho-Sang, Gogolev, Bunting with some potential, Kampf with some potential, Mrazek as the new 1A, 1B, there's a lot to like. But they need a bona fide top 6 player. They just lost Hyman. A lot of people are saying Tatar. I'm not big on him, but he can score. So definitely something that the Leafs could use. And especially if he's cheap. I would definitely like Tatar if he's cheap. If it's a cheap contract, go for it. If it's not, stay away. I like some of the moves the Leafs made. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the moves. Right now, I'm in the wait and see mode. And I like some of the tweets that have come out. I've liked some people's opinions because I'm kind of sharing this opinion. Not kind of. I'm definitely sharing this opinion. I was thinking about this before. There's not a ton of star power past those big 4 names up top. So it's their team. They got to do it. They just got to do it. They got to be more productive. Matthews has been productive in the regular season. Marner has. Nylander has. Tavares has. Do that, but you got to do it in the playoffs. Tavares got hurt. You can't say much about it. Nylander was great. Marner and Matthews need to show us this year that they're on a mission. So if they make it that far, this team still needs to improve. On paper, this team isn't that good from what I can see. This team needs to improve. They've got a lot of depth. listen, Kyle Dubas did get the team a lot of depth in terms of like the Marlies and stuff like that. There's a lot of good names down there. There's a lot of guys to be excited for in terms of at least bottom 6 players. And listen, you need bottom 6 players. You can be excited about those guys too. Getting one more good winger, this team looks a lot better, because every time you get a guy that's better than the guys you have, it knocks everyone down one, and it makes your team look a lot better. So let me know what you guys think. This video was quite long. Tons more are coming because there's just a lot to talk about individual players. If you want me to talk about it, I will. But yes, the guy that I'm most excited for in terms of who's going to be on the roster is Michael Bunting. The guy that I'm excited for in terms of depth in the minors is Gogolev. So if you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the squad. I love and appreciate you guys as always. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.